Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Pregame Show. It is Bucs versus Eagles in a matchup at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, where we have two undefeated teams going at it for supremacy in the NFC conference. And there are two big returns happening for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that we are going to talk about on this show. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at pewterreport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Scott, how we doing?
Good morning. We're doing great. This is going to be a great day for football again. And, the more I study this Eagles team, and here's the thing, Matt, just to be completely transparent, all of the Pewter reporters picked the Eagles to win this game. But, we have to put our thoughts down on paper or the internet, as they say these days. We can't change them because we've already made the picks, but I feel like there's a greater chance that the Buccaneers win today. I just feel like that there's gonna be some energy in that huddle with Tristan Wirfs and with Chris Godwin back today that just kind of makes me feel like this is going to be an energy game. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a game where both teams by the second half, I think, are going to be very gassed. It's going to be a hot day and humid as well. And this is going to be one of those games where it might come down to energy. Who's got more left in the tank in the fourth quarter? And I'll tell you, just having Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin, I think that could help the Bucs get off to a good start. I think it could also help them finish this game strong. So I've got to stick with my pick. I think the Eagles, probably come down here and get a win. That's what I said on Friday. I'm second guessing myself right now.
Definitely, as the week has gone on, it's felt more like, okay, the Bucs have a chance. The Bucs have a chance, and they would have had a chance regardless if Chris Godwin Jr. and Tristan Wirfs weren't playing. But even seeing them out there in uniform playing in this game, it can inspire the team around them. Yeah. And they're going to need all the inspiration they can get because while it is great that Tristan Wirfs and and Chris Godwin Jr. are playing, Mike Evans is not playing. So the reason why I'm still picking the Eagles, and I think Tristan Wirfs is going to be great at left tackle. I mean, he was downright giddy in the locker room when we spoke to him this week. Yeah. The reason why I can't pick the Bucs just yet in this game specifically is I don't know what we're going to get from Chris Godwin Jr. Yeah, is he going to be a decoy? Is he going to be on a pitch count, or will he be out there for a majority of the snaps, which we'll find out tomorrow when I do the snap count? How much will his involvement be important in this game? It's important for the team overall and for the long haul. But if he's more of a decoy today, you're talking about a very, while better depth-wise than a season ago, still a limited wide receiver group that will rely heavily on the rookie Emeka Egbuka, who certainly is up to the task. But Chris Godwin, to me, is the great mystery and intrigue of this game that could really tip the scales one way or another.
Yeah, I think you're right. If he's a factor, the Buccaneers have the advantage. They win the game. If he's not much of a factor, if he's a decoy, if he's a complimentary piece, will depend. It depends if that compliment is a touchdown, like in the red zone. Then you feel better about things. But here's the thing. This is not a really good Eagles team. And as I studied more yesterday and even this morning, prepping for this podcast, they've won in kind of underwhelming fashion. If you look, they beat, I think, a bad Dallas Cowboys team 24-20 in the season opener, right? Mm-hmm. Then they beat it's always hard to win in Arrowhead. This is not the Chiefs of old. This is not a superhero Chiefs team. This is a mere mortal Kansas City Chiefs team, and they barely beat them 20-17. Granted, I'm going to give them brownie points because it was an Arrowhead. It is tough to win there. But then last week, it took 2 blocked field goals to beat the Rams, and while the score was 33-26, all they needed to do was literally block that last kick. They scooped and scored. Jordan Davis did for a touchdown in that game, but they didn't really even have to do that. Just blocking the kick would have done enough for them to win the game. And so they've kind of won kind of the way the Buccaneers have a little bit, through the skin of their teeth. And so it'll make it for an interesting game when this game goes to the fourth quarter, if it is close, and it hasn't been the last two times these teams have played down here in Tampa. The Bucs have had a lopsided victory in both that 2023 wild card win and the 33-16 win in week 4 last year. Which team will truly have the advantage? And I think that's why the energy might be the catalyst for the Buccaneers in the fourth quarter. All things being equal, that might give this team, and when I say the energy, I also mean the heat too, that might give the Buccaneers the edge if this is a close game.
It very well could. I don't know how acclimated the Eagles will be with the Heat, even though they came down a day earlier. It is kind of funny, though, like if you look at the Eagles and the Bucs through a college football type of lens in terms of like strength of schedule, power of opponent, I don't know. It's a little interesting. We've been giving all this praise to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs, and they're squeaking out victories against teams that have a combined record of 1-8. But we're going to be like, oh, well, the Eagles aren't that good. They only beat the Rams and came back in dramatic fashion, who are a Super Bowl contender, and the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl last year with the same team. But I understand, what you're saying overall about it. There are parts of this Eagles team, even with all the superheroes that they have on the offensive side, and they are undefeated when it's Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and the two wide receivers being healthy and playing together. There's something still a little underwhelming with their offense. Like it should be driving like a Ferrari a lot more, but it's more of a car that when you twist the key, you're not sure if it's going to start or not.
Yeah,
and that's an Eagles problem. That's not a Buccaneers problem. But I think the defense for the Bucs is going to have to keep them in this game, depending on what you see from Tristan Wirfs at left tackle. But it's a game that the Bucs can win. And even without Mike Evans, it's going to be a tall task, but it's a game that they can win.
Yeah, it is. And to me, this is a game where Jalen Hurts cannot beat this team with his legs, right? This has got to be, we saw Levante David miss 2 point-blank sacks of Tyrod Taylor last week, or Tyrod, however he's pronouncing it. That can't happen this week. We need to see the Buccaneers defense, literally when they have point-blank opportunities to get Jalen Hurts on the ground, they have got to get him on the ground. Scrambling Jalen Hurts is a problem, especially inside, not just the red zone, but the 10-yard line, what they call the low red zone, because he is such a threat near the goal line with a runner pass option. They'll even call some quarterback draws. And I think that's something Tampa Bay really has to be prepared for. So whether you spy him in those situations, and here's the thing, if you spy him, is Levante David, is he fast enough at this age to get him down? He couldn't bring down Tyrod Taylor in 2 opportunities, and Tyrod Taylor's a year older than Levante. He's a Servassier Dennis who can't cover running backs out of the backfield, and here you have a quarterback with running back speed. What I do like is the fact that Todd Bowles deploys a lot of defensive back blitzes. We've already seen so far, we've seen sack opportunities by Antoine Winfield Jr. Jacob Parrish had a sack last week. Tyke Smith had a sack against the Houston Texans. So the fact that you're sending some of those defensive backs at Jalen Hurts, that I think puts more speed in pursuit of Hurts. And if they can stop him before he starts, which means in the backfield, then you have the opportunity to get the Eagles out of what they want, which is third and short opportunities, because then they can do the tush push. They can stay on the field. And I think it's winning third down is absolutely key and critical for the Buccaneers. They've done a great job of it so far. That has to continue today.
I loved what Larry Foote said on Thursday when we spoke to him. He said, I don't care who you are. You're not running the football against us.
That's right.
In our stadium, of Raymond James Stadium. So with that in mind, I'm kind of, as crazy as it sounds, I'm more concerned about Jalen Hurts than I am Saquon Barkley when it comes to running the football. Because we have seen, forget who the opponent is, we've seen with the Bucs this season, while they have been able to blitz, as you just mentioned, with some of the secondary players, when they're not getting home, or even sometimes when they're getting home, they're just flat out missing the quarterback slightly, and the quarterback's been able to take off and run and extend plays. We saw it with Michael Penix Jr. the first week of the season, and Tyrod Taylor really did it in that fourth quarter. And as you mentioned early on, Levante David not being able to stay with him as well, which is a bit alarming. And Jalen Hurts, more than most quarterbacks the Bucs will see this season, will commit to just taking it off and running. Like if it's a 3rd and 4 and he sees that he can get 5 yards easy, he'll take it. He wants to run first and throw second, where most quarterbacks want to extend plays with their legs and then eventually throw it, but they only run it if they absolutely have to. Jalen Hurts will absolutely take that opportunity. So as good as the Bucs have been, like in the secondary, and certainly AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are two great wide receivers, it doesn't matter if they're 20 yards down the field and Jalen Hurts is scrambling for 15.
Yeah.
So to me, that's one of the biggest things that I'm worried about in this game for Tampa Bay's defense. I'm not exactly sure how they kind of spy on him because, as you talked about, the linebackers haven't really played up to par just yet from what we want out of Levante and Servassier Dennis. So how Todd Bowles will go about deploying them against Jalen Hurts will be one of the biggest storylines for this game.
Yeah, and that's why you really can't box score scout players, because I don't think Levante David played a very good game last week. The statistics tell you otherwise. He had 11 tackles and a sack, but then the Pro Football Focus grade comes out, and I actually agree with it. Levante was one of the worst 5 players, along with Servassier, in last week's game. And so the production was there, but sometimes that's just a matter of being right place, right time, and getting tackles. It's what plays are you missing that can be critical. But I will say this. If I'm Todd Bowles, I blitz the hell out of Jalen Hurts because I don't want him to have a clean pocket and have time for AJ Brown and Devontae Smith to work down the field, right? That's the big thing. I would be fine with Jalen Hurts doing some scrambling and picking up 5 or 6 yards here and there rather than having the time in the pocket to find AJ Brown downfield. And if there's a matchup that I'm kind of concerned about, and we'll get into our individual matchups, but I think we need to spend a little time on this. Zion McCollum has had some problems with bigger physical receivers. You go back to last year, CeeDee Lamb kind of big boying him for that big, huge catch down the field on Sunday Night Football, kind of shoved him out of the way and hauled the pass in. And then Juwan Jennings, who's not a very fast receiver at all, probably runs a 4.6, 4.7, just played bully ball with Zion. I think Zion does really well against kind of like sleek, fast receivers. You think he blanketed Xavier Worthy in Kansas City last year? Would he have like 1 catch? I think he could do a number on Devontae Smith. But that's the thing is Todd Bowles, unless he's going to have a different game plan for it today, Zion McCollum's the left corner. Jamel Dean's the right corner. That's typically how Bowles will deploy those guys, sometimes moving Zion in the slot. Like if they move A.J. Brown in the slot, I think that will be the move that you'll see there on the chessboard with Jacob Parrish kicking outside on a play or two. But, Matt, that's what concerns me a little bit. A.J. Brown, a bigger physical receiver on Zion McCollum. I think Dean will handle him better from a bigger, more physical standpoint. But that's really going to depend on where the Eagles deploy A.J. Brown, which matchups the Eagles want, because Bowles typically is static with his cornerbacks.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Zion has a lot of speed. He's very savvy. He's a high football IQ, but could probably put on a little more muscle as a corner. But he doesn't want to take away his speed at the same time. So you hope that the Bucs can get some matchups against Devontae Smith, because I agree with you. That's definitely a more affordable matchup for Zion McCollum. And you could put Dean, maybe even Benjamin Morrison in some rotations going up against A.J. Brown as well. But, if the Eagles want to stack 2 wide receivers on the same side, I mean, Todd Bowles isn't going to bring them over.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what the Bucs have in store for that situation.
Well, here's what the odds makers have in store for the game today. Matt, what are your thoughts on this? Tampa Bay, the underdog at home. Is this just a matter of the fact that the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champs and maybe have some better wins on their resume? Although it's been kind of miserable for the Eagles the last 5 games against the Bucs. Tampa Bay's 4-1, including 2 trouncing victories over Philly at home.
Yeah, a lot of factors going into this. Very rare that you see the home team, especially an undefeated team like how the Bucs are, be an underdog by that many points, by 3.5. But I think it's more of just a credit to how good the Eagles have been going back to last season. They are the defending Super Bowl champs. They are undefeated this season. And again, when their top 4 players on offense are playing, they're just a really tough team to beat. They have the tush push. It's still legal. Jalen Hurts is big in clutch situations and big time games. So very rare that you're going to see the Bucs as an underdog at home, especially by 3.5 points. I think not having Mike Evans definitely played into this too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. That was my next question. Is what would the line be if Mike Evans is healthy? Where do you think this is? Is it Tampa Bay plus 1.5? Is it how much does Mike Evans move the needle in Vegas?
Yeah, I think Mike Evans, and factoring in if they knew it was going to be Mike Evans with a returning Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin Jr., I think that line would probably go to plus 1.5. I don't know if you'd go pick them just yet.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's certainly a 2-point swing with Mike Evans not in there.
Well, speaking of Mike Evans, he is out for this game, as is Christian Izzy. And we'll take a look at our Bucs injury report. Chris Godwin Jr., the ankle, questionable. Tristan Wirfs with the knee, questionable. Baker Mayfield, biceps, questionable. All of those three players will play. We also believe that Logan Hall will play. Might be a game time decision for him, but here's the thing. They have 6 defensive tackles on their active roster. And whether or not Logan Hall will play, and again, probably a game time decision depending on how that groin feels. It's described to me as a tweak rather than like necessarily a pull. So I think there's a chance that he gives it a go. It's notable that there were no practice squad elevations. So no tush push Terminator, no Desmond Watson, no Adam Gotsis moving up from the practice squad. Remember, they signed CJ Brewer to the active roster. They also have Elijah Sullivan, who was signed off of the Cardinals practice squad a couple weeks ago. So between Sullivan and Brewer, and of course Vita Vea and Logan Hall and Kalijah Kancey being out, you've got CJ Brewer with that elevation, kind of a similar type player there. And Greg Gaines will probably start next to Vita Vea with Logan Hall in a 3-4 style defense. And they might even want to play more of Greg Gaines in this game because of Logan Hall. But Matt, it seems to me all 6 of the defensive linemen this game will probably dress, probably not have any inactives, just because groin injuries, they can flare up at any time. One wrong move by Logan Hall and he could be out. So you don't want to have 5 of your 6 defensive linemen active for this game. And then if he goes out, then you're down to 4. So I think you're going to have all 6 of these defensive tackles today be active just in case Logan Hall has a flare up with that groin.
Yeah, it's too risky to, have Logan Hall, who did get injured last game and, had a scratch and claws way to be ready for this game. It's too risky to know that he could get injured in the game, and really anyone can, but knowing that he already has this, pre-injury already, to risk him and not have everybody else dressed and ready to go would be pretty crazy, honestly. So, it makes a ton of sense that you're going to have that whole group. Very surprising that just no call-ups at all, like at any position. You hardly ever see that anymore. But the Bucs trust what they have, and I like their group of defensive tackle. You're obviously not as strong when you don't have Kalijah Kancey, but this is a group that I still believe will stop the run against Saquon Barkley when the Eagles traditionally run the football. Credit to the depth on that group, because I think they got a solid unit.
Yeah, Elijah Sullivan probably going to see more playing time today than he even did last week. And no Jason Jones. He was put on injured reserve, or he will be put on injured reserve. He injured his bicep muscle that'll require seasoning surgery. He's a practice squad defensive tackle that could have been in consideration to bring up for today, but he's going to be out for the year. So another player on IR, although a practice squad player. David Stackman says, I can't wait to see one foe back in action, of course, meaning Chris Godwin. Also can't wait to see if SR hung up his 30 jersey. It is at the shop getting framed. I did the favor of taking down the 20, so that's gone. So no more looking at the alarm plaque numbers. So that's the placeholder until the 30 jersey comes back from the shop. Villain, good morning, Pewter family and my fellow Bucs fans. We need that 4-0 today. Is my birthday is today. I need that win. LFG. Well, happy birthday to you.
Yes, happy birthday to you, Keita Villain. I remember you had mentioned it during the week, so I wanted to give you one more shout out for your birthday. Yes. Happy birthday. Hope the Bucs bring you that win.
Absolutely.
We have a couple super chats and a new Pewter Report YouTube channel member. So shout out to Super Straight Cash. Thank you. Thank you very much for being a Pewter Report YouTube channel member. We appreciate you. And let's start off the super chats with Tampa Bay Hammy. Thanks for the $9.99. Says, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all you do. SR, happy 30th.
Thank you.
Living in Okinawa for 3 years and waking up for 1 a.m. for games. You guys really help me feel and stay connected. Go Bucs, thank you for taking the time to watch our shows, even all the way out there in Okinawa.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you so much. Thank you for the kind words.
That is awesome. I'm going to give Matt a quick little plug here. Pewter Picks and Props is out. Still plenty of time to watch it before the game. I just dropped the link in the chat on YouTube. So as soon as this show is over, if you're looking something to do on the way to the stadium, if you're at the stadium already, or if you're just going to watch the game at home, make sure you watch Pewter Picks and Props before the game. Get your bets in. I made a catastrophic failure. I did not watch Pewter Picks and Props College Edition yesterday, and I lost my ass. So shame on me. I'm not going to do that ever again. I'm going to watch. Listen, I don't know. Do you want to make money? If you do, then all you have to do is just watch Matty Diamonds do his thing, and you're not going to win every bet, but you're going to win a hell of a lot more if you watch Pewter Picks and Props, whether it's the college or the pro edition. So make sure you do that before the games. Don't be like me.
I'm 6-0 with the Bucs games, and if you're saying how is he 6-0, there's 3 games. I do the over under and the spread in each game. And I picked it right every single time for the Bucs. And I do some NFL games too, and Bucs player props. So if you want to win, watch Pewter Picks and Props.
That's right.
Bucs Basement, thank you for the $2 super chat. It says, win or lose, we have lots of cushion in the division race.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how the division shakes out today. Again, the great thing is the Buccaneers are in the driver's seat right now. And as long as they continue to win, it doesn't matter what happens around the division, right? And I would love nothing more for this team to be kind of like, listen, the NFC South, we know it is not a stout division. It is the weakest division out of all of the NFC divisions, right? Like there's no doubt about it. I would love for the Buccaneers, if they're going to rule the roost as they have, be like the Patriots.
Yeah.
Just start as the champions and finish as the champions and just carry that the whole way out. That's what the old Tom Brady teams used to do. Sorry, Matt, with your Jets, but you've seen it up close and personal.
Yeah.
Just be that dominant team. Like have the lead from week 1 and just never let it go the whole season. That would be quite telling heading into the playoffs. And if that's the case, guess what? You're probably looking at a 12, 13, 14 win Buccaneer team. Yeah. And that's the type of team that I think would do some damage in the postseason.
And the Bucs have enough tests on their schedule that they can still get by with a cupcake division. Yeah. And they're still playing the Eagles today. They got the Lions in prime time, the Rams, Seattle the Bills as well, Seattle next week, the 49ers. There's plenty of other teams on the schedule where the Bucs will have their own personal litmus test time and time again. And this division is just kind of bonkers right now. Like you think, okay, the Falcons are going to contend, and then they get shut out by the Panthers, who would look terrible, and the Saints are just an awful team. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of next week, let's just go ahead and give a promo for what we have going on. Pewter pregame next week. It's going to be a 4:05 kickoff, which is great because it gives us a little bit more time to get ready for the game and do some tailgating and all of that. But the Bucs will take on the Seattle Seahawks in a throwback jersey again for both teams. That's going to be fun. 1976 teams, Seahawks and Buccaneers, will be doing battle in their throwback uniforms. Bucs will be wearing those 1976 throwbacks once again. They're undefeated this year in those jerseys. Yeah. And make sure you tune into Pewter Report TV at 9 a.m. Again, that's the kickoff time for all of our Pewter pregame shows on game day, 9 a.m. It will also stream live on X and Facebook. And then at 4:05, Pewter Game Day, the orange and white clad Buccaneers will take on the Seahawks up there in Seattle. Make sure you're there. Matt Matera and Daniel Morales will have all of the action and reaction to hopefully a Buccaneer win. It's been a little elusive getting a win in Seattle. They've had a couple of close overtime losses the last couple of times they were there. They did beat the Seahawks over in Germany, though. So we'll see what happens in this particular game. But they got a lot of birds on the schedule this year, Matt. Falcons, Cardinals,
Eagles,
Seahawks, Eagles. Yeah, I think they play all of the bird teams. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah, just not the Ravens. That's about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the only team they're not playing is the Ravens. And also make sure that, speaking of Pewter Game Day, that you tune in at 1 o'clock for Matt Matera and Daniel Morales on the call today. It's going to be a fun one at Raymond James Stadium. Hopefully it will be a similar showing to what we've seen in these games in the past, which is not just a Buccaneer win, but a Buccaneer blowout. And then, of course, one last promo, Bucs versus Eagles post-game podcast tonight. Or I should say this afternoon. It's be around 4:30-ish.
Afternoon-ish, evening.
4:45, 5 o'clock, yeah. About 35 to 50 minutes after the game, we'll have the Bucs versus Eagles post-game podcast. I'll be live from the stadium. Matt will be there in the studio. And we're going to have a great old time talking about maybe an undefeated Buccaneer team.
Hopefully, undefeated Buccaneers team. Sticking with the Super Chats, thanks to Bucs Basement for this $2 Super Chat. Says, special teams have got to be better. Nearly cost us 2 to be 0-3. Yeah, I mean, special teams, it was great in week 1, not from a kicking perspective, but then since then it's gone severely downhill. Riley Dixon did not have a good game. And not even talking about the block that he had in Houston, but last game he did not have a good game. And then they got a field goal blocked. So it's been tough sledding. You can't be considered a Super Bowl contender and have all of these issues on special teams. So they got to clean it up this game. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, Jordan Davis, 2 field goal blocks. He just about single-handedly won the game, and then he had the scoop and score too. He is playing so much better than Jalen Carter is this year. I mean, he's been the better of the two. And I think last year Carter was probably the better of the two. But this Eagles defense, Matt, and you hope that they don't get their act together today. They've really kind of been underwhelming. Yeah. Their stars really haven't shined. I mean, just looking at some of their splash plays, we talked about how we needed to see the Bucs come through with some splash plays. And they did the last game. 4 sacks, a pick 6 by Jamel Dean, a fumble and fumble recovery, Antoine Winfield Jr. and Vita Vea teaming up for that. The Eagles, through 3 games, have 3 sacks. That's it. Jordan Davis has 1. Moro Ojomo has 1. And then the rookie Andrew Mabuka, the kid out of Texas, keep an eye on him. He's got an interception. He is a playmaker. He was their 2nd-round pick. The Eagles draft exceptionally well. I think they've got another stud defensive back that they found in the draft. Mabuka and Zadarius Smith, who was just signed the start of the season, he'll be filling in for who am I thinking of? Nolan Smith. Thank you. I was going to say, which Georgia Bulldog am I trying to think of here? Nakobe Dean, he's another one. Nolan Smith. Yeah, he's the guy that is going to be out, the pass rusher. He's got a half a sack. So that's really it. They have 2 interceptions from a secondary that has a lot of skill back there. Mabuka's got 1. Zach Bond has 1. But guys like Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Reed Blankenship, they have yet to get into the turnover act, and they're certainly capable of doing that. Reed Blankenship has picked off Baker Mayfield before. You go back to that Monday night game. Where the Eagles came down here. It's their last win against the Buccaneers. He had an interception that game. They have a lot of playmakers that just haven't made plays yet, and you hope that today's not the day for those Eagles to show up on defense.
Yeah, it feels like the Eagles have been sleepwalking a little bit, and yet they're still undefeated. So you don't want to awake that beast in this game. So hopefully Baker Mayfield can continue to play turnover-free. And it's great that he hasn't thrown an interception. But he's got to hold on to the football because he has 2 fumbles, and the Bucs have been lucky that they've recovered them. But definitely mistake-free is going to be a key in this game, as it is every game, but it's a little more important when you have these big matchups.
That's right.
Mark Fisher, thanks for the $4.99 Super Chat, says, we have to run the ball today. 1, do you expect White to split snaps more? 2, is running right even a viable option in your opinion? Happy 30th, SR.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's a viable option. You can't be predictable and lopsided and have all your runs go to Tristan Wirfs and Ben Bredesen and Graham Barton's side. There's going to be some interior runs. This is a between the tackles running team. And even last week, remember, when they had Elijah Klein and they had Luke Haggard, they were hanging on for dear life in pass protection, but they actually did an okay job in run blocking. They were able to do enough in that ground game to find some creases for Bucky Irving. I do think Rachaad White is a little bit more of a factor in this game. The Eagles, again, they have the talent up front to be a very good a good front 7, but what are they allowing? 133 yards per game on the ground. I mean, it's not spectacular. Un-Eagles-like performance so far from this team. And again, I'm with you, Matt. You hope that this isn't a game where the sleeping giant wakes up, because they're certainly capable of more. And maybe the fact that they're going up against a team, again, part of the reason why I picked the Eagles is I do believe they're coming down here for some revenge. This is not just another game for them. This is hey, we only lost 2 games, last year. We lost in Tampa, and then we lost one more game against the Commanders. Otherwise, they were undefeated, right? And this was their biggest loss of the year last year, 33-16. That was a drubbing. And I just feel like this is the same kind of energy that they're bringing down here is what the Bucs brought to Detroit in week 2 last year when they just were out for blood. And I hope the Buccaneers rise to the challenge today and meet that and still be the bully of the block down here in Tampa.
I'm surprised that Rachaad White didn't get as many snaps last game. And Josh Grizzard said that part of the game plan, the way how things were going, I don't know if that was just kind of coach speak or not, but I think Rachaad White should be more involved, especially, again, when you're playing in this heat and players dehydrated, cramping, all this different stuff. I think Rachaad White deserves
Matt, if we're being honest, especially because we have Rachaad prop bets. I mean, really, come on.
We did, yeah. We did. Yeah. And like everything else hit except for the Rachaad White.
I know.
Shout out Bill Vincent, who has now been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 8 months. Thank you very much. Says, any word on the right guard?
It's either going to be Elijah Klein, who was the starter on the depth chart, or Dan Feeney. He is Dirty Dan, as he's known in the locker room, because of the mullet and the greasy mustache and all that. One of those 2 guys, I think, will start, and we'll see. Elijah Klein, they like him. Obviously, he was like the number 2 center in training camp. And in the preseason, they have high hopes for him. He had kind of a rough, wild first start.
Bit of a rodeo.
A bit of a rodeo. And Quinnen Williams will do that to you. He is a bit of a bull to ride. And it doesn't get any easier with Jalen Carter, who is returning home. He played in nearby Apopka, same high school Warren Sapp played for, just down I-4. So this is a homecoming for him. And then Jordan Davis, I think, like we said, is playing even better than Jalen Carter. So I think you're either going to see Elijah Klein at right guard, or you're going to see Dan Feeney. They did not elevate Michael Jordan. We really don't even know the status with his knee, do we?
He wasn't available for last game.
Right.
And he didn't practice this week, so I think he's still
probably still an issue. Yeah.
Paul, a.k.a. OG Baker Bro, thanks for this $2 super chat, says Bucs win today. Godwin and Ibuka each with a touchdown. Baker Mayfield MVP. Well, that'd be delightful for Bucs fans, seeing Chris Godwin get back into action, looking pretty good with a touchdown. And Emeka Ibuka is going to be the driving force of this offense for as long as Mike Evans is out. He needs to have a big game if the Bucs are going to win this one against the Philadelphia Eagles. And for those that maybe bet on Emeka Ibuka to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, you wouldn't mind seeing him have a big game as well.
I would love nothing more to see him have an absolute alpha game where they roll coverage his way. He still beats it. Baker threads a couple passes in there in double coverage. He comes away with it. I'd love to see an 8-catch, 110-yard, 2-touchdown game from Emeka Ibuka today.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be his first 100-yard receiving game.
Yeah.
Cincy Kid with a $10 super chat says, happy 30 years to the best Bucs coverage, SR and Matty Diamond style and profile every week. Woo!
There we go.
Thank you very much, Cincy Kid. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate the super chat. And it's good to get a woo in the morning. So
thank you, Ric Flair. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Paul, a.k.a. OG Baker Bro. Thank you for this $2 super chat. Says, Matty Diamonds has delivered $375 in profit so far. That's what I'm talking about. Let's win some money. Thank you, Paul, for the kind boost as well.
That guy right there, I'm telling you, watch Pewter Picks and Props.
Yeah.
You win some money. If you don't, like me, you won't. So just saying.
Winning records everywhere, not just the Bucs game, but Bucs player props, NFL picks, winning records across the board. And Paul, a.k.a. OG Baker Bro,
thank you,
also
Paul.
very kind to gift a Pewter Report YouTube channel membership to anybody that wants it. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Kevin Thomas with a $30 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, congrats, Scott, on your 30 years of your service.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Brian Ford said when he gave me that jersey in his office, I don't want to set the record straight. That was not my office. That was Brian Ford's office. He's the one that had all of those cool signed jerseys from John Lynch and Brooks and Sapp and all of those guys and Tom Brady. That was not my office. That was his. He said, we have 30 more years from you. And I said, maybe 20, 10 for sure. So maybe I'll do 50 total. That'd be 20 more years. So put me 73. I probably can give you 20 more years. So let's do this.
That'd be wild. Let's go. Meets McGee, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, I'm not too scared of A.J. Brown. I'm more concerned with Barkley versus David and Dennis. If Bowles speeds up Jalen's clock, Barkley will have a big receiving day. I agree with you, Meets McGee. While I'm not concerned about Saquon on the ground, I am worried about throwing him the football, getting him out in space. And we've seen Rashee Dennis struggle heavily with chasing down running backs. And, Saquon's the best of the best. So, yeah, that's a big time matchup that the Eagles could really exploit against the Bucs.
Totally agree. You nailed it, Matt.
Cecil, thank you for this $1.99 super chat. Says Tez Johnson type of day. Need a backflip Selly. Yeah, that was a while ago that he had the backflip.
Yeah. I'll say this. We almost saw a Tez Johnson celebration last week when, and listen, I love that. I went back and watched that last series. I love the aggressiveness of Josh Grizzard on that final drive. First play was a kill shot to Tez Johnson, and I don't think Baker could kind of step in the throw, so he had to kind of like just put a little bit more arm behind it. He put too much arm behind it. Tez Johnson was wide open down the middle of the field. That would have been his first catch for a touchdown and probably a game winner. And I think we might see a touchdown today from Tez. I could totally see the Bucs getting him involved, kind of like how he was used against the Bills in that preseason game. A lot of quick wide receiver screens. That's a big staple of this offense. You go back to the Sterling Shepard 20-yard, which was a crucial 20-yard catch and run on a screen pass at the end of the game to get them into field goal range. We've seen Emeka Egbuka score on a screen pass against the Texans in week 2. Screens are a big part of this offense with wide receiver screens. And so Tez Johnson, I think, is that guy that can really get some yards after catch. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him have, I wouldn't say a big day, but certainly a more moment. Of a contributing role. A moment. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because that was kind of like that was Ryan Miller against the Texans. He didn't have a crazy game, but he had a moment, which was that touchdown, scoring the first one of the game for the Bucs against the Texans in week 2. By the way, I want to give a shout out to our friend Eileen Natchuk over at WFLA. Shout out Bucs bonus. And thanks for watching the show, Eileen. Good friend. Awesome at what she does. So I want to give her a shout out.
Eileen and I will be doing a segment after the game, hopefully a Bucs win. That'll be on News Channel 8 on Bucs bonus. And we also do Tuesdays. We do a Bucs bonus podcast, myself and Eileen and Garrett Phillips over at News Channel 8 on their website or on their YouTube channel too. So little Pewter Reports WFLA crossover there. So it's great. They're great partners. Greatly appreciate it.
Friend of the program. We'll have her on
definitely
again soon.
Yeah. Bucs and Saints preview. She'll be our gal. Speaking of preview, let's get to some of these key matchups, Matthew. This is going to be an interesting game here. Let's start on the Bucs offensive side. Bucs offense versus Eagles defense. Baker Mayfield, who has yet to throw an interception, versus Reed Blankenship, who is a bit of a ball hawk. He has not been a ball hawk this year, but as we talked about, he has an interception on Baker Mayfield. And he is that kind of like center fielder, that guy that's going to be patrolling. And so, if Baker wants to force a ball in there to Emeka Egbuka or to Chris Godwin, you got to be aware of Reed Blankenship. There's something about Baker this year. He's got some mojo going and some interceptions that have been, potentially caught by the defense. They've been dropped. So maybe that continues again today. Maybe he keeps the ball out of harm's way. I like Baker Mayfield in this game and the whole season, honestly, man. He's just playing MVP caliber football. What do you say?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said there's a new and a different mojo with Baker Mayfield. Like, he still has all the moxie and the grit that we've loved about him.
Yeah.
But he's taken his game to another level, which I think is a little bit tough to do with how long he's been in the NFL for. But he finds a way to kick it into a new gear. And like this year, it's been a little bit more of the scrambling and the big play abilities and big moments and clutch plays. he's in the MVP conversation. He has to be
right.
careful. Reed Blankenship can certainly, tip this game in the scales for the Eagles. But Baker's playing at an MVP level, so it'd be difficult not to take him just with how he's done so far in 3 games.
No doubt about it. Bucks interior offensive line versus the Eagles defensive tackles. Again, from a talent perspective, you almost like the talent that they have. These 2 first rounders in Philly are tough, man. I mean, when they're on their game, they might be the best 1-2 punch. Certainly now without Kalijah Kancey in that lineup with Vita Vea, but they really haven't been on their game. And you hope that being close to home doesn't get Jalen Carter energized and he has a big game. That's kind of my concern. Jordan Davis is just having a fantastic year. He's lost weight. He's blocking field goals. He's getting in the backfield. He's stuffing the run.
Yeah.
But, the fact that Graham Barton's back at center, welcome back to center, Graham. It's not much easier than it was trying to defend Baker Mayfield's blindside at left tackle against Daniil Hunter. I don't know. This is a push to me because I do feel like these Eagles defensive tackles are going to create some problems, especially for whoever plays right guard. And I think Graham is going to be a little rusty going back to center. But at the same time, I think this offensive line has shown that they can run on pretty much anybody. So I'm going to go with the push here, Matt.
So that's what I was thinking when you mentioned with the rust of it's going to be a little confusing at first, I think, maybe for Graham Barton to go from left tackle then to center after like putting so much time and effort at left tackle. And understandably, like they needed him to do it. And same with Ben Bredesen going from center back to guard. I think the Eagles might be able to take advantage of that a little bit early in this game, maybe in the first quarter. So I'm actually going to take the Eagles defensive tackles. You got to think also that they're either going to be going up against Feeney or Elijah Klein, which is still an advantage for Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. So definitely one of the toughest tests that the Bucs will have this afternoon when they kick off at 1:00.
Yeah, I agree. Chris Godwin Jr. Forgot to put the junior on there. Sorry, old habits die hard. Chris Godwin Jr. versus Cooper DeJean. We think that Godwin's going to be going back to his familiar role in the slot. Might kick Emeka Egbuka outside a little bit more. Cooper DeJean is a very versatile player. He can play outside. He can play inside of the slot. He can play safety. And he's the more physical of the cornerbacks in Philadelphia. Chris Godwin's a very physical player. But, he's sight unseen for me, Matt. And so normally I would pick Chris Godwin. If we're talking about Chris Godwin of 2024, I'm giving the advantage easy to number 14. But I'm going to say this is a bit of a push for me.
I agree, just because we don't know what we're going to get from Chris Godwin. I full-heartedly agree, though. If it's Chris Godwin, the first 7 games of the season of last year, this is Chris Godwin Jr. in an absolute landslide. But I don't exactly know how he's going to impact the game today. He'll have a big impact on the team and throughout the season, but today specifically, it's kind of difficult to take him. So I agree with you. I think push is probably the most likely outcome.
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell's not had a great start to the season for the Eagles. Emeka Egbuka has had a great start to his career in the NFL for Tampa Bay. Something's got to give. And I think it's still going to be Emeka Egbuka. Playing outside, we saw him have a huge catch on Sauce Gardner in the game. Yeah. So to me, I really believe that you're looking at a player who's ready to be wide receiver 1, even fighting through some double coverage today, which wouldn't surprise me a bit. But there's just something about Emeka Egbuka that screams great player, and he is. So to me, I like Emeka Egbuka over Quinyon Mitchell in this game.
The one-handed catch on Sauce Gardner, I think, cemented to everybody across the league that he is the real deal. It was awesome that he had 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games, had the game-winning touchdowns. But, sometimes you see that where somebody flashes onto the scene right away, and it's great. You think they're going to be amazing, and then they just kind of relegate to an average player. And I still wouldn't think that Emeka Egbuka is an average player.
Right.
But that one-handed catch, and then the catch that wasn't a catch, but it was a catch late in the game, to me, that just cemented that he's going to be such a special player for this team.
Yeah.
So, I like him in this matchup. I don't like the Bucs running backs, though, against the Eagles. I was thinking of the Eagles running backs. Bucs running backs, I like the Bucs running backs. I think Bucky Irving is one of the best running backs in the league. His ability to make people miss. Yeah. Like, it's almost expected at this point. Like, if he doesn't make at least one player miss, it's like, what? Are you kidding me? I think Rachaad White, the more he gets involved, the more helpful he will be. And this is a good duo. I don't know if it's the best duo in the league, but it's certainly up there between Bucky and Rachaad White.
Zach Bond is still playing at a really high level, right? I mean, he was an All-Pro last year. He got the big contract extension. He can do it all. He can pick off passes. He already has one interception this year. He can rush the passer and blitz. He can cover. He can make tackles between the box. He can run to the outside. He is a very good player for Philadelphia. The other player that's actually playing pretty well is a player that was on the Bucs fans' radar when it came to the draft, Jihad Campbell. Jihad Campbell has had a pretty good start. He's got 18 tackles so far in a pass defense. He also has a forced fumble this year, playing better than I had expected him to play. But to me, this is advantage Bucky Irving and Rachaad White slightly. I'm going to give the Eagles linebackers some props because there's some real talent there. I think Jihad Campbell is going to be a really good player in this league, off to a good start. Zach Bond is a very good player, but I like the home field advantage here that the Buccaneers have with the Bucky chants at home. I think that fires up not just the fan base here, but also the team. One thing that will get you fired up is going to walk-ons, whether it's before or after the game. You can either pregame at walk-ons or celebrate the Bucs win after they have a win this afternoon at walk-ons. 3 Tampa area locations: Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland. Game days are better at walk-ons. Big screens, bold snacks, all the hype. Tons of fantastic appetizers. Look at those. The mozzarella logs. They are not mozzarella sticks. They're mozzarella logs. They're huge. They're fantastic. Boneless wings. You have the cheeseburger sliders that are a hit. They have 2 different kind of nachos, the classic nachos, then a buffalo chicken nachos. The spinach and artichoke dip is always a hit. So whether it's for a meal or getting some apps, the place to go is walk-ons. They also have some great kickoff cocktails, the whiskey sour, the player's punch, which is my favorite, and the strawberry mule. Limited time only. So many TVs. That's right, Wasp. There is not a bad seat in the house. I've never been to a place like walk-ons that has that many TVs. Every single game is on. So whether you're a Bucs fan or a fan of just all of the NFL games, maybe you want to keep an eye on other games for your fantasy football endeavors, walk-ons is the place to go. Again, 3 Tampa Bay area locations: Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland.
Shout out to walk-ons. Fantastic food, great atmosphere as well. Before we look at the other side, a couple more super chats to get to real quick. Meets McGee, thank you for this $2 super chat. I'm not exactly sure what the context is with this. It might have been a conversation we were having earlier, but says, how about 2 minutes? 2-minute offense around the second or the third quarter.
I think what he's saying is to get the tempo up, to use the heat as your advantage as the game has kind of gone on. And I like that. I'd love to see the Bucs use tempo today, maybe catch the Eagles a little flat-footed in some situations. Josh Grizzard has shown the ability to do that. Obviously, the Buccaneers have a comfort level in this, given those 2-minute comebacks over the last couple of weeks. So I'd love to see it. I think using some tempo, catching the Eagles off guard would be great. The one thing you don't want to do on a very hot day is go 3 and out, though, because otherwise your defense is getting back on the field after literally what could be 2 or 3 minutes worth of rest. So there is some advantage if this team has a lead in having one of those 8, 9, 10, 11 play drives to really just wear the Eagles defense down and keep the Bucs defense on the bench in those cool down zones with the AC and the fans on, so they'll be ready to go in the fourth quarter to finish the game.
Yeah, totally agreed tenfold. Paul, aka OG Baker Bro, thanks for this $5 super chat. Says,
thank you, Paul.
Lovely to see a chat without Baker hate and Traskaholics nonsense. Pewter Report is an integral part of my all-day Bucs game day experience. Happy to support Pewter Report. Thank you so much for the kind words. And
we greatly appreciate that very much.
The conversation has kind of ended a little bit now that Kyle Trask is no longer on this team.
The conversation continues in just a matter of hours as Matty Diamonds, and Daniel Morales will be there to entertain and inform you for all of the Bucs-Eagles game at 1 o'clock. Make sure you check out Pewter Game Day on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, or streaming live on X and Facebook at 1 o'clock. And then don't forget, after the game, about 45 minutes to an hour after the game, we're going to have our Bucs versus Eagles post-game podcast. Matt Matera and I will recap what we hope will be a 4-0 Buccaneer team with yet another victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what we're hoping. We didn't pick it. We'd love to be wrong. We're not always going to be right, but that's kind of how we're feeling right now. So please join us, win or lose, after the game.
Certainly will be a lot to cover. So let's round out the show talking about the Bucs defense against the Eagles offense. We'll start with inside linebacker Levante David against Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert. Scott, how do you see this matchup?
This to me is kind of a push, just because I think Dallas Goedert is a good tight end. Levante was in his prime an absolute great cover tight end. Now this is kind of more of a push. I think old Levante, I should say young Levante, the Levante David of old, meaning years ago, I think this would have been advantaged Levante David. But I'm going to give Dallas Goedert his props. This to me is a push just because Levante is 35 and this football is a young man's game. So I'm not disrespecting Levante. I'm just saying this is, to me, kind of a more of an even matchup here. And you'd love to see Levante come up with an interception, maybe the one he dropped in Houston. Maybe you can make up for that today.
Yeah.
And keep the Bucs turnover train chugging along.
Yeah, Levante told Bruce Arians that Vita Vea is still giving him crap about dropping that interception, so he needs to make up for it. And Goddard is an important part of the Eagles' passing game. It's the receivers first, but he's really the next guy up after them in terms of their receiving options. So, I think it's going to be a push. I'll still give Levante the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, there are times where it seems like maybe he should retire after the season.
Yeah.
Yaya Diaby against Jordan Mailata. This is interesting, Scott, because Yaya Diaby has played pretty well. He definitely picked his game up last game.
He must have been watching the pregame show. We challenged him,
he
Matt.
must have been.
We challenged him on the show to be that guy, right? And to dominate an opponent. I think he did that against Olu Fashanu and Andrew, Armand Membo, the Jets' first-round offensive tackles. But he did that. 11 pressures and a sack last week. Now he's going up against a pair of Pro Bowl offensive tackles. He's faced him before, but Lane Johnson on the right side and then at left tackle, Jordan Mailata. And to me, can you do it again? Can you be that guy against a more formidable foe? That's what I want to see out of Yaya Diaby today. And I think he's capable of it, but I'm still going to say this is a push.
I got to go with Jordan Mailata. He's one of the best offensive tackles in the league. Yaya, next for him is stacking these games and consistency. And I don't know if he can do that just yet. So I got to go with Jordan Mailata. This one, to me, is kind of a landslide. Servase Dennis against Saquon Barkley. Yeah. Saquon out in space it's nightmare fuel for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Eagles should exploit this all day long and take advantage of some sloppy play by Servase Dennis.
Yeah, handing off the ball to Saquon Barkley is one thing, but to me, I think getting him the ball in space on screens, out in the flat, I don't know, some wheel routes. Boy, if I'm the Eagles, I'm cooking up some wheel routes in this game against Servase Dennis, doing whatever we can to isolate the Bucs inside linebacker, who's played really good as a blitzer in between the box as a tackler, but we wanted to see more because KJ Britt could kind of do that. We're seeing a more athletic version of KJ Britt, but we're not really seeing better coverage necessarily, especially man coverage from Servase Dennis, and that's going to be critical. He's got to take better angles to the football and not allow these running backs to just run wild out in the flats.
And he was like, pass coverage was supposed to be what he was going to excel at, but it hasn't been the case. Free safety Antoine Winfield Jr. against Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. This is a fun one. I'm going to go with a push, though, because Hurts has played great in certain important moments. Winfield, great play in week 1, strip sack last week, has gotten to Jalen Hurts before. Just two high-level players going at it in this game.
I think that we're going to see Todd Bowles spy Jalen Hurts with a combination of Tyke Smith and Antoine Winfield Jr. and the linebackers, and he's going to be confusing Jalen. But I think we're going to see Antoine Winfield Jr. get another sack today. He's just feeling it. We talked about Baker Mayfield's mojo this year. I think the mojo is back for Antoine Winfield Jr. He's got the Superman cape on, and he's playing like it. So to me, I'm going to give the edge to Winfield Jr. this game. I think he's back. I think Super Antoine is back, and I'm excited to see it. Our final matchup, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It bears repeating. Zion McCollum versus A.J. Brown. Brown is going to be used kind of all over the field a little bit, and Zion will primarily stick on that left side. But to me, we've talked about it, and I think if you're the Eagles, you try to get this matchup. You try to put A.J. Brown on Zion McCollum. I've not seen the physicality I want to see from Zion yet against bigger, more physical receivers. I'm going to go A.J. Brown, man.
I'm going to go with a push on this one. I'll give Zion some credit for just having a good season. It's more of the entire secondary, in my opinion, than just Zion McCollum. But they haven't allowed like the big play down the field with the receiver just yet. And I think Zion will hang on for dear life. We talked about a rodeo before with Elijah Klein and Quinnen Williams. It might be a little bit of a rodeo today with A.J. Brown. He'll have some moments, but I think Zion can limit the damage that A.J. Brown can bring. So I'll go with a push in this one and trusting Zion will live up to his new contract extension.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how many Eagles fans are going to be at this game. This is always one of those games where Bucs fans in the lower bowl, they sell their tickets because the Eagles fans will pay a high price for them. And so, in this economy, I can't blame the fans, but you don't want to see it. There in these last couple of games, there have been a ton of Eagles fans in the lower bowl, and I just hope that the Buccaneer fans are louder than the Eagles fans. They have more energy today at the stadium and help this Buccaneer team get yet another win against the Eagles. That would be great because nobody likes Philly fans. Nobody, seriously, nobody. They're the worst fans.
I agree.
On the planet, arrogant, prickish, and we love to see them lose.
Jerks.
Jerks. Yeah. So I would love to see the Buccaneers come away with a win and then have all the Eagles fans leave by the third quarter. That would be great because it's hot. It's going to be really hot. You know what? Just run the score up on the Eagles and have the Eagles fans head to the parking lot, and then so they can go to the Mons Venus, wherever they want to go in the fourth quarter.
They can F off.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Well said, man. Let's end the show on that. That's a great ending.
Yeah, that would be a great ending. We do have one more super chat to get to.
Okay.
Yeah, Philly fans, no one likes them.
Yeah.
We do like this super chat from Jacob Winkles. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Who says,
"Happy birthday!
Y'all do a great podcast for my birthday today. Happy birthday to you."
That's awesome,
Jacob. There's a lot of birthdays of Bucs fans today watching the show. I want a Bucs point for each of my 34 years. Much love from Wichita. So happy 34th birthday to you, Jacob. The Bucs score 34 points. There's a good chance they're going to win this game. So hopefully they do score a point for every year of your age.
Listen, that would be fitting because they scored 32 points in the playoff win over the Eagles back at the 2023 season. They scored 33 points last year. You see where I'm going with this? 32, 33, 34 today. That would be something. Happy birthday to a fellow Kansan out there in Wichita. So. And Erica Deeper saying happy birthday, Jacob. So that's awesome. We got some birthdays in the house. Hopefully it's a celebratory day for Bucs fans, whether it's your birthday or not. Hopefully the Bucs beat the Birds. That would be fantastic. And listen, the Buccaneers have already gotten some of that early season love. Matt, we talked about it on this podcast, on the Pewter Report podcast. That win on Monday Night Football was huge in terms of national media spotlight.
Yeah.
It ended the Bucs can't win in primetime curse. It got Baker Mayfield's MVP candidacy, front and center in the national media. Philly's a big market, right? A big TV market, big national media market. Getting a win today over the defending Super Bowl champs, their first loss of the season, if that were to happen today at the hands of the Buccaneers, that would send Buccaneer hype into the stratosphere right now.
It would, especially with it being Fox's game of the week. They have their number one broadcast team there. A lot of eyes will be, a lot of eyes will be on this game. So if the Bucs can start 4-0, oh man, the town is going to be absolutely buzzing if that can go down today.
Yeah. Last comment here from Will the Brewer. Every time the Eagles fans get in my face, I just bring up closing down the old vet and game one in the new stadium. That's right. Well, hopefully the Buccaneers shut down the Eagles undefeated streak today. Thanks for joining us today on the Pewter Pregame Show. Make sure you Tune in at 1 o'clock on Pewter Report TV or X or Facebook at Pewter Report for Pewter Game Day, where it's going to be a lot of fun today. Don't miss this game.
That's right. And then if you're not already doing so, please make sure you're following us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video what you think is going to happen in today's game. Give us a score prediction. Give us who you think might pop off for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's going to do it for us on this morning's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you soon for another Pewter pregame show. Out.